All right, diving into the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People today.
Yeah, classic book.
You guys have been digging in deep, huh?
Uh,
Looks like notes, highlights, even some dog-eared pages I see.
Seems like you're ready to really, live these habits, not just read them.
Absolutely. Our listeners want to apply this stuff everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Work, family, even just personal growth.
Mm,
It's like searching for that secret formula, right?
that's right.
For a truly effective life.
You got it.
But I get the feeling this isn't about quick fixes, is it?
No, not at all.
From what I've been reading, Covey's talking about a whole different way of thinking.
Yeah, a fundamental shift.
He calls it, what, a paradigm shift?
Exactly, and it's like the foundation for everything else.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit, because paradigm sounds kind of, I don't know, abstract.
Sure.
What's that really about?
Think of it like a map.
Okay.
If you're using the wrong map, you'll end up lost no matter how hard you try to follow the directions. Paradigms are those beliefs and assumptions we have. They shape how we see the world.
Hmm.
And they can either lead us to success or, totally derail us.
So if I'm hearing you right, it's not just about changing habits. It's changing how we see things at a deeper level.
You got it.
That's pretty profound when you think about it.
It is. And Covey says we need to shift from this personality ethic.
Personality ethic. I would-
It's all about surface level techniques to what he calls the character ethic.
Interesting.
It's about building on principles, things like integrity, fairness, honesty.
That story about his son struggling in baseball really highlights this whole thing.
Powerful story.
Covey and his wife, they realized their own view of their son was holding him back.
Wow.
They thought he was inadequate. And it wasn't until they shifted their own paradigm that they could really help him.
Exactly. Our paradigms shape our reality.
That's true.
And it's connected to Covey's idea of primary and secondary greatness.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He says character, that's the foundation, primary greatness.
Right.
And without it, personality, what he calls secondary greatness, can only take you so far.
It's like focusing on technique without, like, the substance.
Yes.
You might win a few, but you're never going to be a true champion.
Exactly. It's like cramming for a test.
I've been there.
You might pass, but you don't really learn, right?
Right.
True mastery comes from consistent effort, deep understanding.
So how do we go from this big idea of character to actually applying it every day?
Good question.
How do we bridge that gap?
That's where the 7 habits come in, and that's where understanding the principle of effectiveness is really crucial.
Okay, lay it on me.
Covey calls it the PPC balance.
TPC.
It's all about balancing production with production capability.
You know, that goose and the golden egg analogy, that's brilliant.
It is, isn't
It
it?
makes it so clear.
It perfectly illustrates the PPC balance.
Break it down for me.
P is for production, the results you want, those golden eggs.
Okay, the golden eggs, I like it.
PC is production capability, so the goose that lays those eggs.
Got it.
So if we're only focused on getting those eggs, those immediate results.
We might end up hurting the goose.
Yeah, neglecting the goose.
Our well-being, relationships, the systems that actually make the results happen.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a really good way to put it.
Think about it. Have you ever pushed for a deadline, the P,
Oh, yeah?
while neglecting sleep or exercise, the PC?
Definitely been there.
How did that affect your performance in the long run? That's PPC balance in action.
Man, so many examples in my own life come to mind.
Right.
Covey talks about like neglecting your health while chasing a promotion
Yeah.
or damaging a relationship because you're forcing your way in an interaction.
It's all connected.
Even parenting.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, demanding obedience without building trust. That's another example of that imbalance.
Yeah, it's about nurturing the source of the results, not just chasing the results themselves.
Powerful stuff.
So we've got the foundation, paradigms, PPC balance.
All right, foundation laid.
Now let's move into the first habit. Be proactive.
It sounds simple enough, but I have a feeling Covey takes it a lot deeper.
Oh, he does.
What's he really getting at with being proactive?
Proactivity isn't just about taking initiative. It's about understanding you're the programmer of your life.
Whoa, okay, explain that.
You're not just reacting to stuff?
So I'm not just a product of my circumstances.
Exactly.
I have a choice in how I respond.
Yes, you have the power to choose.
But how do I actually do that? Where do I even begin?
Well, Covey talks about your circle of influence, the things you can directly impact, and your circle of concern, things that worry you but are largely outside your control.
Makes sense.
Proactive people, they focus their energy on that circle of influence.
So what can I control? What can I impact directly? That's where I should be focusing.
That's where proactivity starts.
It's a good starting point. I like it.
It is. And think about it. What's one thing in your life right now that feels outside your control, but is actually within your circle of influence?
I love that question, and that's something for all of us to really think about.
It is, and we'll pick up right there in our next deep dive.
That's such a good question. Makes you really stop and think.
It does.
So much of the time, I feel like I'm just reacting to things instead of actually shaping my life.
Yeah, I get that.
But when you said, focus on what's in my circle of influence, that gives me a place to start.
Exactly. And to build on that,
Yeah.
Covey talks about how proactive people, they even use language differently. Instead of saying, I have to, or if only.
Right.
They choose phrases like, I choose to, or I can.
Interesting.
It's a subtle shift, but it reflects a whole different mindset.
It's like you're taking ownership.
Exactly.
You know, this reminds me of Viktor Frankl.
How powerful story.
Covey uses his story to show that even in a concentration camp,
Wow.
Frankl found freedom in his ability to choose his response.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing example of proactivity in the face of, well, unimaginable circumstances.
It is. And Covey highlights that one of the most practical ways to exercise proactivity
Okay, I'm listening.
is by making and keeping commitments,
Even small ones.
even small ones.
That makes sense.
By honoring those commitments, we build integrity, self-mastery.
So it's about aligning our actions with our values
Yes,
and building trust,
absolutely.
both with ourselves and with others.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork with habit 1, be proactive.
All right, solid foundation.
Let's move on to habit 2. Begin with the end in mind.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah,
It's like having a roadmap for your life.
exactly.
Instead of just reacting to whatever comes up, you're proactively designing your future.
Think of it like, a masterpiece you're creating.
Okay.
Before you even pick up a brush, you have a vision in mind, right?
Right.
That's the mental creation.
I get it.
Habit 2 is about having that clear vision for your life.
What does success look like for me? What are my non-negotiables?
You got it.
That's my blueprint.
Exactly.
So it's not just about setting goals, it's about defining what truly matters.
Yes.
Covey even suggests writing a personal mission statement to capture that vision.
It's a great tool.
But how do we make sure our daily actions are actually aligned with that bigger vision?
That's where habit 3 comes in.
Okay, hit me with it.
Put first things first.
To put first things first.
It's where we bridge the gap between vision and action.
Love it.
You see, habits 1 and 2, they lay the groundwork.
Okay.
You're empowered to act. You have a clear vision.
Right.
Habit 3 brings in the discipline, the execution.
That's all about prioritizing, right?
Yes.
But isn't that something we all struggle with?
We do, and that's why Covey introduces this tool called the time management matrix
Time management matrix, okay?
to help us prioritize effectively.
I like it.
It divides tasks into 4 quadrants based on urgency and importance.
4 quadrant. Okay, break it down for me.
Think about those urgent and important tasks, the ones we're always firefighting.
Ugh. Yeah, those.
That's quadrant 1.
Quadrant 1, got it.
Then you have those urgent but not important distractions.
Oh, I know those well.
Right. They pull us away from what truly matters.
They do.
That's quadrant 3.
Quadrant 3, distractions.
And of course, there's quadrant 4.
Hit me.
Those time-wasting activities that are neither urgent nor important.
Okay, so we've got firefighting, distractions, and time wasters.
Right.
Where does effectiveness come in?
It's all about quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2.
The important but not urgent tasks.
Interesting.
These are the activities that contribute to our long-term goals.
Okay.
Our relationships, our personal growth.
Give me some examples.
Things like planning, prevention, relationship building, skill development.
So these are the things that, like, nurture the goose so it can keep laying golden eggs.
You got it.
So if I'm always putting out fires, reacting to urgent demands, I'm neglecting those quadrant 2 activities that are crucial for long-term success.
Precisely. Covey argues that most of us spend way too much time in quadrants 1 and 3.
Makes sense.
We're so busy reacting to urgency that we neglect the things that are truly important.
But don't have that immediate deadline.
Right.
Okay, so habit 3 is about shifting our focus to quadrant 2, making time for those important but not urgent activities,
It's about being proactive with our time.
instead of constantly reacting to external demands.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of the time management matrix.
I like it.
It's a practical tool anyone can use to gain control of their time, focus on what matters.
Really helpful.
So far, we've covered the first 3 habits, what Covey calls private victories.
Private victories.
It's about self-mastery, interpersonal effectiveness.
But where do we go from here?
A good question.
How do those individual victories translate into success in our relationships, interactions with others?
That's where we move into the realm of public victories.
Public victory, okay.
Habits 4, 5, and 6.
Got it.
These habits are all about interpersonal effectiveness,
Okay.
building strong relationships, creating win-win solutions.
So we're taking those principles of personal effectiveness and applying them to how we interact with others.
That's right. And it all starts with habit 4, think win-win.
Think win-win. I mean, everyone wants to win, right?
Right, but Covey goes deeper than that.
I figured he would.
It's not just about everyone getting what they want.
Okay.
It's about a fundamental shift in our paradigm of human interaction.
Paradigms again, huh?
It's about moving from a mindset of competition
Yeah.
to a mindset of cooperation.
That reminds me of that story Covey tells about the company president.
Oh, yeah.
Obsessed with that race to Bermuda chart.
Yes.
He was talking about cooperation, but his actions were creating a system of competition.
It's a classic example of how our paradigms can, undermine our intentions.
It's true.
And Covey outlines 6 paradigms of human interaction.
6. All right. Lay them on me.
Win-win, win-lose, lose-win, lose-lose-win, and win-win or no deal.
Okay, let's break those down.
Sure.
Win-win, pretty self-explanatory, but what about the others?
Win-lose, that's the classic I get my way, you don't approach.
Ah, yeah, I've seen that.
It's often rooted in a scarcity mentality.
The belief that there's not enough to go around.
Exactly.
Then you've got lose-win.
Yeah, where you're constantly giving in to others.
Often at the expense of your own needs.
It's like being a doormat.
Right.
And then there's lose-lose.
Oof, that sounds rough.
It is. It's a downward spiral where everyone loses.
Yikes.
It's
Oh.
usually driven by resentment, desire for revenge.
And then just win.
That's about getting what you want regardless of the impact on others.
Okay, got it.
And finally, you have win-win or no deal.
This one sounds interesting.
It's a powerful approach where you're willing to walk away if a mutually beneficial solution can't be found.
So you're not just settling for anything.
Exactly.
So Covey is saying we should aim for win-win in all our interactions.
He is.
But how realistic is that?
It's not always easy, especially when you're dealing with people who are stuck in that win-lose thinking.
Yeah, that's true.
But Covey argues that win-win isn't just a tactic, it's a philosophy.
A philosophy of human interaction.
It requires character maturity.
So we're back to character.
We are. Covey outlines 3 character traits essential for win-win.
All right, I'm all ears.
Integrity, maturity, and an abundance mentality.
Okay, let's break those down.
Sure.
Integrity. That's about aligning our actions with our values.
Yes.
Being true to ourselves and others.
Right.
Maturity, that's about finding that balance between courage and consideration.
It's about standing up for yourself while respecting the perspectives of others.
And abundance mentality.
That's the belief that there's plenty out there for everyone.
So it's about shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance.
Exactly, from competition to cooperation.
A big shift.
It is. And Covey also emphasizes the importance of relationships as the foundation for win-win agreements.
Relationships. Key ingredients.
Trust is essential when you have a high emotional bank account with someone.
Meaning a strong foundation of trust and mutual respect.
Yeah, it becomes much easier to find solutions that benefit everyone.
It's about going beyond those transactional interactions.
Yes.
To those that are truly transformational.
Exactly, where both parties feel valued and respected.
And from that foundation of trust,
You can create win-win agreements.
with clear expectations.
Guidelines, accountability that empower everyone involved to succeed.
That example Covey gives about the training program.
Oh, the one where they went from 6 months to 5 weeks.
Yeah. By empowering the trainees to take ownership and collaborate.
Such a powerful example of how a win-win approach can unlock potential.
And create incredible results.
Absolutely.
So to sum up habit 4,
Mm-hmm.
it's about shifting from competition to cooperation.
Yes.
Seeking mutually beneficial solutions.
Right.
And building those strong relationships based on trust and respect.
Okay, so now that we understand the importance of seeking win-win solutions, let's explore how we can actually achieve those solutions through effective communication.
That's a great segue.
Which brings us to habit 5.
Hit me.
Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
This one really hits home for me.
Yeah.
I think we all struggle with truly listening to each other.
It's a common challenge. We tend to listen with the intent to reply.
Not with the intent to understand.
Exactly, and Covey's suggesting a subtle but profound shift in our approach.
So instead of just waiting for our turn to talk,
Yeah.
we need to really focus on understanding the other person's perspective.
Yes. When we seek first to understand, We step outside of our own frame of reference and try to see the world through their eyes.
Trying to see things from their point of view, even if it's different from my own.
Exactly.
It's about putting aside my own agenda, my judgments.
And really trying to connect with the other person on a deeper level.
Powerful stuff.
Covey points out that most of us don't get any real training in empathic listening.
That's true.
We focus on reading, writing, speaking.
But rarely do we invest time in developing the skill of truly listening to understand.
And that lack of skill can lead to so many problems.
Misunderstandings, conflicts, missed opportunities for connection.
Exactly.
It's like that Greek philosopher who said,
Oh, I love this one.
we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak.
Such a simple but profound reminder of the importance of listening.
But it's not just about passive listening, right?
No, it's about actively engaging with the other person.
Asking clarifying questions.
Reflecting back what you've heard.
Making sure you really understand.
Creating a safe space where they feel heard and respected.
And once we've genuinely understood the other person's perspective?
Then we can seek to be understood.
Okay, so it's a two-way street.
It is, and that's where we can use our communication skills.
To clearly articulate our own point of view.
Yes, but the key is we do so from a place of understanding and empathy.
Not from a defensive or manipulative posture.
Exactly. We're building on that foundation of trust and understanding we established with habit 4.
Got it.
And when both parties feel understood, it opens the door for habit 6.
Lay it on me.
Synergize.
Now this is where the magic happens.
It is. Synergy is the principle of creative cooperation.
It's about creating something greater than the sum of its parts.
The idea that by combining the strengths and perspectives of different individuals,
we can create something truly innovative and impactful.
It's not about compromise. It's about finding those third alternative solutions.
Solutions that are better than anything either party could have come up with on their own.
Exactly. Like that story Covey tells about the couple planning a vacation.
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
By taking the time to understand each other's needs and desires.
They came up with a solution that met everyone's needs.
In a way that neither of them had initially considered.
It's a perfect example of how synergy can create win-win outcomes.
And then strengthen relationships.
But synergy can be elusive, right?
It can.
It takes a lot of work to create that kind of collaborative environment.
It does. Synergy requires a high level of trust, openness,
and a willingness to value differences.
It's about recognizing that different perspectives can enrich our understanding.
And lead to more creative and effective solutions. So it's not about everyone agreeing all the time.
No.
It's about embracing those differences and using them to create something better.
Precisely. And Covey argues that one of the keys to unlocking synergy is developing intrapersonal synergy.
Intrapersonal synergy.
Synergy within ourselves.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What does that mean?
It means integrating the different parts of ourselves.
Look.
Our logical and emotional sides, our creative and analytical abilities.
So we become more whole and integrated individuals.
Exactly. It's like the idea of left brain, right brain.
Tapping into the power of both our logical and creative minds.
Right. And when we achieve this intrapersonal synergy, it becomes easier for us to connect with others and create synergy in our interactions.
It's like the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
I love that.
We need to take care of ourselves, develop our own inner resources.
Before we can effectively connect with and contribute to others.
Which brings us to the final habit.
The habit of renewal, continuous improvement.
Habit 7, sharpen the saw.
Sharpen the saw, yes.
This one feels so essential, but it's also so easy to neglect.
It is.
We get caught up in the busyness of life and forget to take care of ourselves.
It's like that analogy of the lumberjack.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Keeps sawing away at a tree, but never stops to sharpen his saw.
Eventually, his saw becomes dull and ineffective.
Exactly. Covey argues that we need to regularly invest time and energy in renewing ourselves.
In all 4 dimensions of our nature.
Physical, spiritual, mental, and social emotional.
Okay, so it's not just about physical self-care.
No.
It's about nurturing all aspects of ourselves.
It is a holistic approach to self-renewal.
So give me some examples. What kind of activities nurture each dimension?
In the physical dimension, it's about taking care of our bodies.
Exercise, nutrition, sleep.
Stress management.
In the spiritual dimension.
It's about connecting with our deepest values, finding meaning and purpose.
Okay, and what about the mental dimension?
Continuous learning, growth, expanding our knowledge and skills.
And social emotional?
Building and nurturing strong relationships.
Seeking those win-win solutions.
Practicing empathic communication.
I love how Covey emphasizes that these dimensions are all interconnected.
They are.
Neglecting one area can impact the others.
Absolutely. It's about creating that holistic approach.
Recognizing that our physical, spiritual, mental, and social and emotional well-being are all intertwined.
That's like a cycle.
Taking care of myself in one dimension helps me be more effective in other areas.
Exactly.
Covey even suggests making time for what he calls the daily private victory.
At least 1 hour a day dedicated to renewing ourselves in those 3 dimensions.
Physical, spiritual, and mental.
It's about making self-care a priority.
Recognizing we can't effectively give to others if we're running on empty.
This concept of continuous improvement, of moving on an upward spiral of growth.
That's at the heart of the 7 habits.
It is.
So it's not about achieving some end goal.
No.
It's about embracing the journey of growth.
Becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Living with integrity, purpose, and fulfillment.
That's a journey worth taking.
You know, looking back at my notes, I highlighted something Covey calls the upward spiral.
Oh yeah, the upward spiral.
What's that all about? Yeah, the upward spiral, it feels like it ties everything together.
It does.
So what's it all about?
Covey's not just presenting these habits as like a one-time fix, you know?
Right.
He sees them as part of a journey, an ongoing process.
Okay.
The upward spiral means we're constantly learning, getting better, becoming more effective.
But it's not straight line up, right?
No, it's a spiral. There are ups and downs.
It's like climbing a mountain with each
If you
step.
get a broader perspective.
And we're better equipped for the challenges ahead.
Exactly. But it takes effort.
It does.
And just like that mountain climber needs to stop and check their gear,
Right.
we need to keep sharpening the saw, renewing ourselves.
Physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You know, one thing that really stood out to me throughout the book was Covey's emphasis on conscience.
Our inner voice.
That voice that guides us toward what's right.
It's so important.
He even says we need to educate and train our conscience.
Just like we train our bodies and minds.
It's a powerful idea if we ignore our conscience.
It becomes dull, almost insensitive.
And then it's harder to make those wise choices, stay true to our values.
Exactly.
So learning about the 7 habits isn't enough.
No, not at all.
We have to internalize them, make them part of who we are.
Not just something we read in a book.
That's when they really start to guide our actions.
It's the difference between knowing something and living it.
It's where real transformation happens.
Exactly.
This feels like such a personal journey.
It is.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
You can't just follow a step-by-step guide.
The 7 habits give us a framework, a set of principles,
right?
But we each need to figure out how they apply to our own lives.
To our unique circumstances.
What's clear, though, is that it's not about chasing some external marker of success.
No.
It's about becoming the best version of ourselves.
It's about living with integrity, purpose, and fulfillment.
And that's a journey worth taking.
Absolutely.
So there you have it, folks.
Our deep dive into the 7 habits.
We explored everything from paradigm shifts and balancing production with production capability.
This is the power of a synergy.
And the importance of self-renewal.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but hopefully you found it helpful.
I hope so.
As you continue to explore the 7 habits, ask yourself,
which habit feels most relevant to your life right now?
What's one small step you can take today to start living it?
The power of these habits is in the doing, not just in the understanding.
You're not alone on this journey either.
There are so many people out there striving to live more effective and fulfilling lives.
As Covey said, the greatest gift we can give one another is to become a more effective human being.
Keep sharpening that saw.
Keep striving for those private and public victories.
And keep moving upward on that spiral of growth.
Until next time, keep diving deep